Guys, we are back for part 2. I actually, off camera, took about a half an hour, 45 minutes since I stopped the video to clean up all my things with the fairy house. So we've got our hole for the heart for the door. All our holes are in for the window, except for it looks like I missed a spot. Like I said, there's always more to clean up. And then all the windows have got their holes in them. So now we're moving on to decoration, which for decoration for fairies means flowers. So I'm going to show you how I make flowers. So let's go ahead and get a clean spot. And if you're still with me, I'm impressed because this is fairly long. So I'm going to show you how I do my roses. Roses actually are very intimidating, but they're actually fairly easy to do. I used to, my very first job when I was 14, back, you know, when they let kids work at 14. I wish they would let them work at 14 now. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. We're not going to get into that. Anyway, when I was 14 though, let me finish my story. I'm really good about getting started on something and then on to something else really quick. Like my brain works at warp speed. Anyway, so at 14, my very first job was at Baskin-Robbins, and they didn't have me scooping ice cream for very long. They put me in cake decorating. So I actually learned how to cake decorate at a fairly young age. And I don't do that much anymore. I use all of that knowledge and experience to word pottery because pottery is more fun. So I have done roses with heavy slip, but they tend to crack and they are really sharp. So I've developed different ways of doing them. I got this set of cookie cutters. They're just leaves. Some of them have a little wave on the one side and then sharp on the other. And this is my favorite way of doing roses. And I know that there's, especially with fondants, there's kits out there, but this is seriously an easy way to do a rose. So I'm going to come in here and I will come in and pinch this edge just so it's thinner. It gives the illusion that the rose is really, really thin. The petals are thin, but it's actually not. It's actually pretty stable. So just pinch those, took a little sponge, just kind of, and now I'm going to take this end of it. And when you're curling clay, you want to talk it into curling. Otherwise it's going to crack. So you just kind of slowly talk it into making that curl. Okay. So there is the beginning of our rose. And then I'll come in at the bottom here and smush that together. I'll come here at the top and I'll widen those petals. If the petal tends to crack, don't worry about it because guess what? They do that in nature too. And it looks more realistic. So there's the beginning. So here's a rose bud. I actually need 3 rosebuds. So I will do 3 rosebuds really fast because the rosebuds are what's on the top of our little chimney. So let me do those. That's all there is to it. That little leaf cutter, and you can make them any size you want. This is the biggest one. You can make them smaller if you want to. So again, I'm going to pinch those edges, make them look thin, smooth off any rough spots. I'll come in here and just give it a little wiggle, get it to so it'll curl for me without cracking. And then I will smooth this down. If you get cracks on the side, you can smooth them with your fingers. And then I will push those petals out. So I got 2. And I need 1 more. So I need to find some more scrap clay. This is actually a little too thick. This is what I made the fairy house itself. It's also a really great way to thin out small pieces of clay rather than roll them. Slap them down a little bit. Actually makes the clay a little bit more malleable too. It kind of wakes it up. A little shock therapy. Makes it, if your clay is drying out on you or getting stiff, especially if it's getting stiff, just start slapping it around. It'll start behaving. All right, so again, pinch those edges, smooth them out, and then give it a little wiggle. And now we have our 3 rosebuds for the chimney, which means that the house is almost done. I shouldn't say that. I just forgot I got to do the stone steps. So, not almost done. So, I will take my 3 rosebuds, bring my house over here, figure out where I want to put them. I'll go ahead and pinch off some of this clay so I don't have quite so much that I'm attaching. Makes it look a little bit more delicate and not quite so boxy. Because we also want to put a butterfly here. You could do a butterfly, you could do a snail, you could do a ladybug, you could do whatever you want. Dragonfly. So, nice thing, my roof is already scored. So, I'm going to score the little rose petal or the little rosebud and push it where I want. Just kind of put it in there. And of course you can't see. All right, so there's my little, isn't that cute? Oh, so cute. They just start developing their own little personality. And so I just start laying them where I want them. And actually, let's put this one down. This one's a little fatter rose. So just press that in there, kind of give it a little wiggle. And we'll get the last one on. But see how quick I made those roses? Super, super quick. And after I do these rosebuds, I'll show you how I do an actual rose. Okay, so I've got them there. So let's go ahead and do a leaf. This is actually one of Michael Harbridge's Learn-Fired Arts leaves. And I believe this one is the mum. For some reason, I really like the mum leaves. So I do a lot with the mums. So I pressed it in with my fingers and I'm tearing the edges away from the leaf. And if you watch any of his stuff, he will show you how to do this too. And what this does is it makes the leaf look more realistic. And the leaf itself, he's made these molds from real leaves. So it's a really, other than going out into your garden and grabbing some leaves, which I do. So I just peel that off, but my leaf is thicker in the middle than it is on the edge. So it makes it look really delicate and really thin. So I'm going to come in here and we are going to score this. Roses need at least one leaf. I usually do only one here. And I just kind of put that in there. Sometimes I'll give it a little flip or whatever. It makes it a little easier to glaze later on. Kind of just raise it up. Okay. Now next is the butterfly. This is one of my favorites. It's a press mold and it comes with a cookie cutter. I did get this on Amazon. They've got a bunch of them there. All you have to do is literally just Google silicone molds, butterflies. So first, I cut the butterfly. So I've got my little butterfly. And because I haven't used this since last night, I am going to hit it with some cooking spray. I don't know about other potters, but not many have to raid their pottery studio when they actually have to cook in the house. I've had to come out here to get my cooking spray and stuff because my cornstarch and my cooking spray is all out here. So I make it a little sandwich with this mold and I just press, okay? And then open it up and voila, magic, got a butterfly. And what I like about this is it is printed on both sides. So you pick the side that you want and I bend it in the middle because, you know, it's going to look like it's flying. I score that middle on the other side and then I have to figure out where I'm going to put this butterfly. So we'll just set that one. Well, actually, let's see. Where did I put the other one? I actually have it more kind of on the rose. So, but that's not going to work this time. So it's going to have to go down here. So I will take a needle tool and very carefully push that in because it's only attached by that center. And then I will make the leaves or the wings of the butterfly. I kind of make it look like it's just flying. So this is basically, it needs the stone steps, but it's pretty much, the fairy house itself is done. Now, I got to work on this. So, you don't have to do that. I just made a tray. I like having greenery around the fairy houses, you know, so they look like they're out in the forest, but that is totally, it's a lot more work and you do not have to do that. So, but let me show you how I do the stone steps. So I take the steps or the stones from here, make a coil. So I just make a coil. It doesn't have to be a perfect coil. And I will bring it in here and press to get my stone steps. And just like that, you have stone steps. So I already made one. I already know it's going to be too big. So I'll show you what I'm doing. Actually, hold on. Sorry for the ride. Let's go ahead and move these out of the way. And there we go. Now we're in the frame. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these because I know that my stone steps are going to be about this wide. Okay, just kind of trim that up a little bit. And these are prettier stones, so I'm going to actually put these ones on top. Where is my, so score hibiscus here. This is so much faster to make stone steps than it is in real life. Because we just recently did some hardscape. Built the studio, and then all of a sudden we had to do hardscape and retaining walls. Studio itself actually wasn't too bad price-wise. I'll get into that when I do a tour of the studio on how that all worked out. But when we were done, we realized there was other stuff that we had to do to the actual grounds to make sure that the studio was set well in the landscape. Plus I had like 5 different stairs I was going up, and if you remember in the last video I talked about the fact that I had to have a knee replacement, so stairs and I are not friends. Okay, So basically what I'm doing is I'm making a little place for these stairs. I'm just cutting it until it fits. I need these stones to have to sit on something so that they don't break off. So, yeah, that's looking better. So let me go ahead and trim this interior in. And then we will score that. We're going to rough this guy up. Add some slip. And then put these guys together. And then it's the back that you need to smooth and make sure that's where the joint, that's where you're going to spend your time on the joint. Okay. These aren't structural, of course, you know, you're not going to be drinking out of them. But if you put them out in the weather, you don't want places for snow and ice to get either. I would bring them in the wintertime. But if you are one of those places where you don't have winter, they could be outside year round. Okay, so I'm just cleaning up my stone steps, getting that slip off of there, and making sure I've got a good joint. And smoothing this. And as soon as I get this done, we will move back to the flowers. But I have to... So, this is for the door there. And of course you can't see it. So sorry. So I basically have done that. So now, be very, very careful. I just hit my butterfly. Be very, very careful when you start getting stuff on this thing that you are picking it up or you're not going to mess it up, because I've done that before and had to go back and redo stuff. So I am just slipping and scoring my stone steps, and then I'm going to bring this up to the door. So I'm bringing it. So I scored and slipped my steps, and I'm bringing them up to the door, making sure they look good. And then be very, very careful at this point because you got a lot of stuff on your house. I am going to smooth this into the bottom. Go ahead and cut my extra away. And I'm just going to flatten that down. Smooth this all out. Anyway, you get the idea. So I will spend more time on smoothing that out later. I do want to make sure that I'm not getting this too high, because it will set the fairy house up too high if you get too much clay here. So I'll take some of that away. And then, like I said, I will spend some time smoothing that later. But you get the idea. So there is the actual fairy house all done. Now we just have to make the flowers. So let me grab some more clay. I've got another slab here. So this is going to be my base, and you can make this any shape you want. Where is my big, oh, right there. So you can make this any shape you want. You can go circle, you can go square, you can go triangle, you can go organic, amoeba, whatever you want. But I'm going to take that roller, roll it in, because this house is sitting on little cobblestones. So I'm going to roll these guys in. Doesn't really, what's really cool, it doesn't really matter which direction you roll this. It just works. So All right, so I'm going to actually make this a circle. You can do a circle, like this one is not a circle. This one is just an odd shape. So, you know what? I should probably put my stamp on the bottom of these. I did it in the past, so we should do that right now. So I'm going to turn it over, put my stamp on the bottom. And I'm not worried if it smushes out the texture, because that's where, if you want to put a little bit of it in, go ahead and put it in. But that's where the house is going to sit anyway. So, smooth off my edges because I don't want any sharp edges. And then we are going to, actually we're going to do this. This is where you got to be careful. Careful is not necessarily in my vocabulary. So I'm going to set this guy in the middle of his little stones. And then I've got to fill it in with the flowers. So this one, so if you saw, it actually sits in at an angle and the flowers sit around it. So that's what we're going to do next. So first thing I'm going to do, I actually have flowers made up. So I'm just going to show you the flowers that I hand built. I'm going to show you how to make them. This is the Morning Glory. Actually, you know what? Before we do Morning Glory, let's go back to the roses, because I only showed you how to do the rose bud. So let's bring you over here. I'm going to slap this out, get it a little thinner. I'm going to take my rib, whoops, and compress it. So usually when I do a rose, it's the exact same way I do the rosebuds. But I'm going to use 3 or 4 of these guys. Is this the one I was using before? Looks smaller. We're going to do the big one. So we're going to go ahead and use that one though, it won't matter. So I usually do 3 or 4, we'll see. Basically your rose just gets bigger and bigger. However many petals of this leaf that you use. I actually use these cookie cutters for so many things. They're really, really handy. Okay, so again, you just wiggle, wiggle until you can get that to curl. Okay, and then I pinch the bottom. So I have a little stem and I will push the petals out. I'll grab another one, same thing, pinch those edges, smooth them out. Now this, you don't wiggle. So you bring it over here, and the key is to start your petals somewhere where this petal ends. You want this one kind of right there, okay? So you don't want them starting and stopping at the same place. And you just wrap this guy around, okay? So you wrap him around and then you push out the petals. Okay, let's see here. Actually, we just might change this up. Sometimes I do it this way. Sometimes I wrap it all the way around. Sometimes I leave that open and I put a petal in. So like I will come in and start the next petal right there. I think that actually looks a little bit better, and then wrap that around. Okay, so this one is going to be a really big rose. It might be too big for this house actually. So let's move that, tuck this in, and then bring it around. Okay, so once you've got them, then you want to, technically I should have been pushing those petals out. But how pretty is that? and how easy. What took me a minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe. I'll have to check on the camera how long it took. So then I'm going to smooth the bottom, because this becomes the tricky part. So bring our house. I like, if I'm going to do a really big rose, I want it by the door. So I'm going to take some of this off. And what I do first, and I kind of make it, I don't know, like a tongue depressor, or just flat on one side. Because I am going to be coming in and placing these wherever they fit best. And I see that we need to take some stones out. So we're gonna go in here and cut some stones out. Do a little landscaping here. Now remember, these are 2 pieces, so you don't want to join that. So we got a nice, really big rose. So now it fits under there. Really pretty. All right, so next is the Morning Glory. So I start with a ball of clay, about this size. It can be any size. Depends, the size of the ball determines the size of your flower. I will go ahead and start pinching the top. I have this little fun tool, but you could use any type of tool to get it started. But I just push that in, okay, to where I've got something like that. And then I'll come in and it's a little pinch pot. So I will just go around pinching my edges, and then I start bringing those petals out. Again, it's a flower. You can leave them cracked because petals are not perfect out in nature, but we're gonna smooth these down a little bit, just because I like them a little smoother. I don't mind that it's not circular. I actually prefer that it's not circular. It's not a perfect circle. I like the imperfections that way, but I will smooth it just because I don't, it's the rough edges. I don't want rough edges. I don't want sharp edges. So again, I am doing like with the petals of the rose, kind of pinch the edges, because then it makes it look more delicate. Makes it look like it's thinner than it is. Okay, so now that I've got this, I'll come back in with this, and I will push that in the center. Kind of, these morning glories or trumpet flowers, that's pretty much what we're doing. So we've got that, and then I will make my petals. So, and they usually have 5. Do you want 6? Do 6. How easy is that? And then sometimes I will come in and just kind of mess with the petal. Just kind of give it a little bit more shape. So there is our morning glory flower. So, since it's another big flower, we're going to flatten the stem of the morning glory, take off some of the extra clay, and we will bring that morning glory over there. I like that the flowers are big on these houses because it's a fairy house and fairies are little. So here's another Michael Harbridge. It's actually a what flower is this? Hydrangea leaf. It's one of the small ones, but I love that it's a heart. So I will add some leaves to these flowers. I like the hydrangeas for the morning glory. So again, I just press it in, literally just tear the clay off. And then add it to my morning glory, because it does, even though it's hydrangea, it kind of looks like a morning glory petal or leaf. So score and slip to the side of that. Both of these clays are the same consistency, so I'm not too worried that I didn't slip the leaf, because I'm going to smooth that in and really join it well so the leaf's not flying off. So, and it's just a hint. And then of course it gets a little tricky to glaze those. And you can put that flower any direction you want. So another one of the flowers that I do, I like this little hibiscus. So I'm just going to show you some flowers, and I've already made up some flowers, so you don't have to. I'm just going to show you the two different, I guess there's two other flowers that I do, and then I just repeat. So here's the hibiscus. Spray it with some Pam. I was using this earlier. So I'll take a ball, put it in that thing. I'll also make, because I need a stem, so I'll also do a stem while it's still in the mold. I'll make a little stem for it because it's easier to, well, I can get it out of the mold here too, but I can manhandle it a little easier and smooth that stem into the flower. And the reason why we're doing stems, I will show you in a second. So like I said, this is one of my most complicated fairy houses. I will show you, if you guys want, I can show you some of the easier ones. So there, how cute is that from that cute little mold? So then I will put him there, and I'll just go back, you know, I'll just place the flowers in different places until I'm done, move them around if I need to. And then the other flower I do is a dahlia or a daisy. Actually, this is more dahlia than daisy because it's layered. And these are, again, in the cake decorating, you can find all sorts of little flowers. What I like is their push, so I can cut them out, but it'll push it out because it's got all of these delicate little petals. Makes it a little hard to get them out of the cookie cutter if you don't have the push option. So here's the flower, and even with the push option, you have to be really careful with these little petals. Especially when your clay is wet. If the clay is a little drier, then you have a little bit more. Now, if you fold this down, it makes a cone, or it makes like a echinacea type flower. So, but we're going to make dahlias. So, got the next size. All right, my phone just told me I'm out of juice again, or I'm out of storage, so we'll see. So I'm gonna hurry through this. The problem is with the fairy houses, there's not a lot of hurrying you can do. You're doing some delicate work here. So join this flower together with, and I just put the one on top of the other. Then I take this pin that I use for the doorknob, and I push it down in the center, and then I have kind of a dahlia like that. So I've made the flowers ahead of time, so let me just show you real quick. I will do that too. I will do a whole bag of flowers, spray them down, seal them up, and then I can come in here and I will push, I'll just decorate with the flowers. Let's see, we need another rose in there. I need to add some leaves. Let's see, here's another, this is a really big morning glory, maybe too big. That's better. So throw in some morning glory. I'll come back in and add a leaf to the, I pretty much only add leaves to the morning glories and the roses. That flower actually looks pretty sad. So let's do that one I just did. There we go. So put our little dahlia in there, and we need another rose. Yay! I have another little rose. Okay, so when you get these done like this, and you get them where you want them, then you carefully, very carefully, take your house out. Okay? So you just lift your house out. And then you go in. This is the reason why you have these stems. You go in. These guys need stems. So I didn't make stems. You go in and you push these stems down. And then you, like I did here, you push the stems down and get them into your spot so that they're connected. Okay? So that is basically how you do this fairy house. I'm going to add leaves and do some cleaning up before I do the push them down. And then you dry them together. Otherwise, you'll get a house you can't get out. Okay, let's see here. Where am I? There we go. So that's basically it. And I do recommend that you dry them slow under plastic, and then just say a little prayer to the kiln gods when you fire them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. So far I've got 4 done. I got 5 more to make. Hi guys, it's been a few hours. Phone died, had to clean up some stuff. I got a new tablet coming, so hopefully it'll make doing videos a little easier. But here is the fairy house one more time. And like I said, leave a comment if you want me to show you how to make a much easier, faster fairy house. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please like, subscribe, do all the things, and we'll do more of these. And as you can see, all my shelves are cleared off. We loaded the kiln while I was waiting for my phone to do its thing, and back to glazing after that's done. So constant. I love being a potter. Constantly all these different things to do, all these different things to make. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll just see you in the next one. Bye.